Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Alleged robber shot dead, stolen items recovered in Portland. An alleged robber was fatally shot by the police, and items stolen from a number of business facilities recovered during an early morning operation in Port Antonio, Portland on Saturday. According to police reports, after a spate of break-ins, lawmen were deployed to Wayne Road, where 3 known suspects were seen. While the police were attempting to make an arrest, one suspect reportedly shot at the lawmen, who took evasive action and returned gunfire before the suspects escaped on foot. During a subsequent search of the area, the police said items that appeared to be stolen, phones, jewelry, and electronic equipment were discovered, along with tools that could be used to forcibly enter a building. After further checks of the area, Warren Golding, a 24-year-old laborer and farmer of Fellowship District, Portland, was seen unconscious on the ground and appeared to be bleeding. He was rushed to the Port Antonio Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The police are happy that superior training and discipline prevail, so that no member of the police force or any other person unrelated to the incident was injured. We take this opportunity to inform all criminals that the police have a right to defend their lives and will not hesitate to repel by any attack, said Superintendent in charge of Portland, Kenneth Chin. Saturday's operation comes on the heels of recent discussions between the police and members of the Port Antonio business community, where the issue of underreporting of criminals' activity in the town was raised. During the meeting, lawmen committed themselves to tough policing in order to curb the crime. According to Superintendent Chin, they are reaping success from tactic changes made. Police operations in recent times have also led to the recovery of several stolen items from business places in the parish. We will continue to be dynamic in our efforts to rid the community of these criminal elements who insist on reaping what they have not sown. And we will do what is necessary to prevent criminals from enjoying the assets that have been stolen from honest, hard-working persons, he promised. He also appealed to the public for their assistance in locating 2 Port Antonio men that police wish to speak with in connection with Saturday's shooting incident. They are Deron Johnson of Wayne Road and Andrew Bennett of Brownbrook. Johnson is also known as Stallman, while Bennett is also called Bad Hog or Bad P. Both men are also known in frequent rural hills and dappers in the parish. These men are also being asked to surrender themselves to the police without delay. We are strongly advising members of the public not to harbor these men in your homes and communities, urged Jane. We appeal to the public not to turn a blind eye to criminal activities and to see to benefit from their ill-gotten gains. If you see suspicious persons in your community, we ask that you use any of the means of communication to advise the police so that we can take the necessary actions, he added. We are pleased to see the willingness and cooperation of the business community. Moving forward, we are asking the public to continue engaging the police as we commit to doing our part in this important partnership. Resource concerns for mandatory sixth form. Many secondary school principals have expressed support for the Ministry of Education's recent announcement of compulsory sixth form come September 2022, but have indicated uncertainty about the level of resources available to schools to make it a reality. The educators noted that while it is a commendable program, it will require strategic planning to ensure that all schools will be able to log on to the initiative effectively. Education Minister Favour Williams made the announcement about the sixth form pathway program at the 57th Annual Conference of the Jamaica Teachers Association held recently. She said Cabinet had approved the 7-year high school plan, which would change the landscape of offering to young people at that level. Williams said this upcoming academic year will be used as a test for the implementation of the program so that the necessary improvements can be made before it becomes operationally mandatory next year. Acting Chief Education Minister in the Education Ministry, Dr. Kesson Thorpe, who also addressed the conference, said with the rollout of the program, teachers have been deployed at several schools to facilitate the teaching and learning process. However, Principal of Cumberland High School in Portmore St. Catherine, Darren Henry, reported that there is still a limited number of teachers at his school to operate a fully functioning sixth form program. Our school was approved to employ 2 teachers for the first term of this academic year, which is not sufficient. because we have not been told what will happen after December 31st. We understand that the ministry is operating within fiscal constraint, but we want a more strategic outlay in respect of how schools will be supported with the teachers so that those students who we are targeting can be impacted in a positive way, said Henry. He also stressed that it is very competitive to get good quality teachers who can immerse into ecosystem so that we can get our students prepared effectively. It is difficult to attract the certain talent based on the circumstances we are operating under now. If the program is a good policy, but good policies must come with good support, and schools like Cumberland High need for more support with respect to rolling out the program, he said. At the same time, Tarrant High School Principal Paul Hall explained that the sixth form program has been on his school for over 14 years, but was endorsed by the Education Ministry only 4 years ago. He pointed out that at Tarrant, plans are already being made to accommodate more students for the recently announced mandatory program. The program has been good, but if we are going to take in these additional students, of course, space would need to be one of the biggest factors. I have an area on my compound for that. Once I can get that workout plan with the Education Ministry in terms of additional funding, then I will be able to put in place the infrastructure, he added. As it relates to infrastructural challenges, Thorpe had indicated that the ministry is aware of the situation and has partnered with tertiary institutions to physically facilitate students to do the sixth form program. Expressing confidence about the effectiveness of the program, Hall said, "Yes, I am sure about the program once it is structured properly. It is going to require a lot of planning and proper structure in place so that students don't think that they will come and waste their years, and also for them to understand the value of it." However, Hall argued that even though the program is beneficial, students do still have the option of heading to tertiary institution after completing fifth form. Some of the courses that are being done at university level, they don't need to do Cape Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination. So I am saying if you want to move on, don't keep them back, allow them to go, he said. Meanwhile, the Education Minister stressed the importance of additional 2 years of post-secondary education, which he said will help students to prepare for tertiary education and employment as they will obtain more valuable skills. 2 Jamaican men remanded on robbery burglary charges in Barbados. 2 Jamaican men charged with robbery and burglary in Barbados were further remanded into police custody in that country after their bail application was denied on Friday. The accused, 29-year-old carpenter Brian Antonio Williams and 23-year-old laborer Sakina Jarrett Ford, reportedly had no legal status in the country. That development led Chief Magistrate Ian Weeks to deny the Jamaicans bail, noting that these 2 gentlemen were in their place Barbados without anything or any application to stay in the place, according to a report from Barbados. Williams and Ford, who have been in custody for the past 3 months, are to reappear in court on September 30th. Allegations are that the Jamaican men robbed a man of several personal items, including a cell phone, a phone case, a wallet, and a sum of cash. Further, the men allegedly burglarized another man's home and stole 2 cellular phones and a knife from him. On that occasion, the Jamaicans allegedly had an imitation firearm in their possession. Following a probe, they were arrested and charged. Purpose-driven, Jeniel Grant hopes to impact lives through teaching. It is said that we were all created with a purpose, an undeniable calling that usually directs us along the path that most fulfill us. However, sometimes we drift from our purpose and then the reality sets in that we are not happy. But it is never too late to return to the path of your purpose, as depicted by Jeniel Grant, who was a few courses away from completing a Bachelor's of Science degree in the Dental Hygienist program at the University of Technology UTech, when she realized that this was not the life she yearned for. The 27-year-old had a passion for teaching that could not be ignored. After all, she is from a family of teachers, with a mother and brother already in the noble profession, and a father who is a preacher. Being an educator is in her blood. She admitted she wanted a change while she studied at UTech, and this was magnified in her work. I was doing well enough, but there were occurrences of me failing some courses, and that's when I realized and asked myself, Why am I wasting my time doing something that I actually don't want to do? So I came to the hard decision of switching career choices and doing the bachelor's degree I am currently doing, she said. She took a leap of faith and began her journey at the Bethlehem Moravian College in 2018, where she is completing a bachelor's degree in primary education. But the road to get there was filled with confusion and doubt, as Grant shared that she did not want to disappoint her parents, nor was she certain of success in her new venture. I think questioning my decision, was mainly built around the energy of not wanting to disappoint my parents and only persons who were looking up to me, she said, adding, I feel like a failure and it was very confusing when I look around and saw other persons, how they had their lives together and they were doing what they wanted, and I was in a place where I wasn't sure about my career path. I had some things in mind, but I could not find my way. So I felt trapped between the choice of what I wanted, what people would say, and not wanting to disappoint, and the added anxiety of making that big step and not knowing whether you are going to actually succeed at it, Grant shared. When asked why she chose teaching, Grant shared that she has always had a passion for knowledge, thought she was not sure if it was something that she wanted to do in the long term. Honestly, I had a passion for it, which is education, for a very long time, but I wasn't sure though. I actually love children and I have a passion for knowledge and transferring knowledge from the time I was young, she said. But I just thought it was something that I did. Never thought it would be something that I would want to do as a career. Because as a young person, when you consider a salary, teaching is not the first thing that comes to mind, and so I think that kind to help the issue. I know this was something I was passionate about, but I wasn't strong in my pursuit of it. Grant shared, however, that she is happy that she made the choice, which she had shown in her studies as she has maintained a grade point average high enough to keep her on the principal's honor roll throughout her time at Bethlehem. She added that she hopes to stay in this prestigious list as she starts her final year in September 2021. I am an honor student, which I am very proud of. I get to experience some areas of my life that I didn't know existed, venturing out into this new journey. I remember when I started Bethlehem, I was just so driven. Nothing seemed impossible, and this came out in my grades. I have been on the principal's honor roll since first year, and my aim is to remain there in my final year and acquire my first class degree. Things are much better, she said, smiling. She added that she chose Bethlehem rather than acquiring this degree in education at the University of Technology because the institution had the added benefit of being located in her home parish St. Elizabeth. That way, she was close to her support system. I wanted to be home. I wanted to be among people who I actually knew deeply, like my parents and family members who actually go to Bethlehem. When I asked around, in addition to wanting to be home, Bethlehem is the only tertiary institution in the parish. It is highly recommended by friends and family, and it was close to my home, so I went there. It is a really good school, Grant said. Now that she is almost at the end of this journey, Grant is proud of what she has achieved and the lessons she's learned to get to where she is. I have learned a couple of lessons. I would say for one, I have learned to trust my gut. Sometimes we know what we want, but we allow ourselves to be influenced by what is happening around us and influenced by other people, Grant said. Having to switch career interests, there were a lot of people who were not in agreement with me, so I had to be absolutely sure that this was what I wanted to do. Knowing what you want and what you don't want is very important, and that is the lesson. I learned to trust myself and be confident in my decision. With new lessons learned and a bachelor's degree in education in hand, Grant hopes for a future where she can have an impact on the lives of the students she comes in contact with. Grant shared that her ultimate goal is education psychology, but for now, being in the classroom and molding young minds remains her passion. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.